which is going to start in about 3 minutes. In terms of proppage, if you, again, either a bathrobe, belt, a belt itself, or a proper yoga strap will work. So make sure you have that. Have something to kneel on. So it can be, again, a pillow, a pad, or a washcloth, or something that you can pad up under your knee. If you have any yoga blocks, grab those as well, but you don't have to have them. But you will need something accessible like a stair or a stable bench, because we're going to play with a standing drill on top of something. Could you do it without anything at all? Yeah, absolutely. But if you do have something, like I said, either a set of blocks, a really, really stable book, or a step. A step works really well too. So you can feel free when we get to that to go off of your mat and find a step in your house or whatnot to balance on. The other thing you're going to need is a blanket, and I'd like you to roll it up. So, roll it any way you like, but essentially we're looking, this will work too if you have an extra yoga mat as well lying around and you just roll it up. You could use that as well in a pinch. So, beach towel, anything like that. If you're shorter like I'm around 5'2", 3", then you're probably not going to need something much thicker than that. However, if you're taller, roll it up a little bit bigger, and especially if you're tighter. So we're going to be using this roll in our practice today when we lie down on our stomach. All right, so in lieu of this first sort of leg of work that we're going to do today, you can feel free to get a bench, a chair, or something to sit on. Could be an armchair. So something like this is great if you're tight. So we're going to begin in child's pose. You don't have to go there quite yet, but child's pose is this pose. And again, you could put any number of props under your derriere to elevate the height of your hips away from the ground. Or conversely, if being on your knees like that, you've got any knee restrictions, ankle restrictions, you can always come up onto a seat like this. I think you can see me. Yeah, you can. And you can do something similar like this. Okay, so feel free. Again, anything can be under your hands here as well. You could even be propped up on your forearms, but you're just allowing that roundness in your spine. So feel free at any point to use your seat, and you can do that with any twists. You could do that with any forward folds as well, standing. You could come to the forearms. So a bench is really nice if you're tighter. So feel free. If you're a little tighter in the hamstrings, any issues with bending over deeply in your lower back, then you just want to make sure that you have certain props around you so that you can, practice safely. Sound good? All right. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you today is this concept of spanda. And those of you who've worked with me before have heard me discuss spanda. And spanda really is kind of, it is actually a really great offshoot of what I was talking about last week, which was this idea that, there's the polar opposites, the dark and the light, the inhale and the exhale. And with this idea of spanda, it's similar in that there's this sort of ebb and flow of energy. And when we're in a state of, alertness, of being open and receiving energy, we're in a state of expansion. And so we're moving out, we're creating that large bubble of energy around us. Conversely, on the other side of that, the balance is when we contract. So when we're in states of contraction, we're working, we're muscling in, and we're finding that center core in our physicality. And in terms of our emotional and philosophical practice, we're coming into that one pointed space of awareness of this moment. So really trying to harness our focus, keep bringing it back in to the breath and keep bringing it back into your practice. Just noticing if your mind starts to wander outward. Okay, so during your practice, you will be experiencing both ebb and flow. Okay. Now, in terms of our physical alignment practice today, we're doing a Hatha practice, and we're going to be holding the postures for a longer static period of time. And when we do that, the tricky bit is not to build too much contraction. So we want to find the balance between them. So if I demonstrate by doing a pose like Warrior Two, over contracting would be gripping. It would be pulling in too tight. You're not really relaxing into the pose. Whereas the expansion phase of your spine would allow you to settle into the pose in a more elegant way, for lack of a better word. So just trying to find that balance of the in and the out, the contraction phase, and that phase of really finding that expansion in your physical practice is great. Now, this whole practice is going to segue into our Tuesday flow practice. Okay, the Tuesday flow practice is going to be a back bending, wheel twisting practice, sort of some drop back kind of action. So today is going to get our shoulders all prepared for some of that work where we're bending backwards, and it's also going to get us into our backline spine. All right, sound good? So we're going to go through some different things intensively around that. So I'm going to have you start in child's pose. Welcome for those of you just entering the virtual studio. My name is Eryn. Welcome to your 4 p.m. Hatha practice. We're going to be moving and grooving for just over an hour. Try to stay for the longer optional Shavasana at the end. It does pay off to let things fully settle in your corpse pose. But for the time being, come down onto the ground, bring your big toes together, place any number of props under your hips, and then you can climb down onto your forearms and bring your forehead to the ground. And just settle in. Take a few minutes, or breaths rather, to adjust and fidget. And again, as I mentioned, feel free to come up onto a bench or a chair and fold over your legs from there. Can you invite a deeper expression in your breath in such a way that as you breathe inward, you feel the back of your ribs expanding towards the sky above you? And as you turn your breath around and spill it back outside of your body, breathe out in such a way that you feel your abdominals start to contract, in such a way that you feel your low belly pull gently back and in towards your spine. Keep playing around with that ebb and flow, that spanda. The expansion on your inhalations, feeling your ribs gently flow apart. And that subtle exhale until you feel that lift of your low belly, finding that contraction. And again, you just inhale and expand. And you exhale and you contract. Can you soften your jaw and your shoulders? And if it feels good and it instinctively calls to you to just roll your forehead on your mat or your head as it hangs, go ahead and do that. Stay for 2 more breaths just as you are. See if you can deepen the expression of your breath. Exhale softly. Good. From here, walk your hands off of your mat onto the floor beside your mat. Bring your left hand near your right hand. Now you can play with the distance here between your hands. If you need to, you can go wider with your arms and give your shoulders more space. Or you can go deeper into the side stretch of your rib cage by placing your left hand on top of your right hand and then really leaning back through your left hip. You are bent sideways here to the right. For those of you that are seated on a bench, it's similar. You could just reach over towards your left side or your right side shin and place your right hand on the arm of your chair or the leg. And then again, just bend sideways to the right. Can everyone scoop your left buttock under just a little bit more until you feel a slightly deeper sensation of stretch in your left low back? Don't overdo it. Keep your armpits lifted from the floor so they almost have a hollowed out feeling, and stay for 2 more deep breaths into your left side ribs. Take 1 more breath, everyone. Breathe in. Scoop your left buttock under just a bit more. Tone your belly as you exhale. Keep your belly and walk your hands back to center and then over to your second side. So again, play with this new side with a fresh mind. In yoga, we call that the beginner's mind or adhikaraship. This sort of studentship of awareness that every movement, every change in shape that you create in your body is a new opportunity to experience it afresh. So you release expectations from one side of your body to the other, and you just meet your body where you can. Again, those of you seated, you're just holding the arm of the chair and the outside of your left shin. Everyone's arched and curved to the left. You can traction your hands a little further away from your body to create more side stretch through your right side ribs. Scoop and tuck your right buttock under, and see if you can bring your hips a little closer back and down to your right heel. Breathe. Take 2 more breaths. See if you can stretch your breath into the sides of your ribs. Feel them open like a fan. And then as you exhale, you'll feel your low belly recruit, your Uddiyana Bandha, your transverse abdominis. Finish your breath. Keep your abdominals and walk your hands back to the center of your mat. And then bring your hands back under your chest or your shoulders. If you're sitting on a bench, you can bring your hands to your legs. And from here, just exhale round to cat. Inhale through cat to cow. Exhale round to cat, start at your tailbone. Inhale, roll your sit bones up the wall behind you. Send your heart forward and slide your shoulders back. Last one, please. Exhale. Nice flow, smooth. And one more inhale. Think about lengthening your spinal column as you move from one shape to the next. Find neutral spine in the middle. Now everybody's on the floor at this point, so transition there if you're not already there, and get 1 block or a book. So something that's maybe 2 to 4 inches thick. From here, place your right elbow on your block, almost like you're going to go into an arm wrestling match. From here, all I want you to do is just rock back and forth slightly. You don't have to go too far. Now, if being on your knees here is just really difficult, what you can do is do it up against a wall. Okay, so similar fashion, you just back up and then you bring it in, slide your elbow up the wall and straighten it again. So this is an option as well. You need to be upright. Can you do 2 more of those? Just bringing your thumb towards your shoulder and then straightening it karate chop style again. This time as you bring your right hand towards your right shoulder, stop. If you can, turn your palm towards your shoulder itself and then back to karate chop, handshake style. Turn your palm towards your shoulder. Don't worry about whether your hand touches your shoulder or not. Keep your right armpit lifted from below, hollowed out. This time, hold as close to your shoulder as you can, and then start to walk your knees back a bit more, maybe 1 inch or 2. And then see if you can lean back and away from your right elbow. And in this position, your left hand and your legs are supporting you. Your right arm is taking whatever resistance it can. So if you need to come out of your right elbow a little more, just use your arm, your left arm and your legs to support your torso weight. Otherwise, sink down towards the floor. Draw your low front ribs up and away from the ground. Tuck your tailbone under. Now, if your shoulder is feeling good, you're getting a nice stretch here, nothing pinchy in the top of your right shoulder, then all I want you to do is add a little bit of a rotation. So your chest will rotate slightly to the left and then slightly toward the right as though you're looking under your right armpit. Just doing 2 more of those. Have a feeling here as you lean back from your right elbow, you're simultaneously trying to press your elbow tip, the point of your elbow, down into the block. Last time, twisting to the right, and then come back to center, re-straighten your right elbow, and then go ahead and come back up onto your hands. Okay. So once again, here in quadruped stance, I'm going to take you through cat on an exhale. Move your cat through neutral and into a slight extension, cow. One more time, exhale, cat, neutral. See if you can feel that sense of space in your right shoulder and your right elbow from what we were doing earlier. Good. Last time, coming in through neutral and holding neutral. So your front ribs are lifted, tailbone slightly tucked. Shift your block or prop over to the left. Use the wall again if you like. Bring your left elbow down on top of it and then support yourself tripod style, right hand in both legs. Again, you're just going to rock back and forth. Keep the karate chop position of your left hand and play around here. Again, it doesn't have to be far or deep. Just go to where you feel sensation of stretch without referring into any pinching in your shoulder, elbow as well. Good. Bring it back, hold, rotate your left palm to face your shoulder. Keep your wrist neutral. So as you turn your hand, make sure you don't start to tip your fingers down. Keep your wrist nice and neutral. Do 1 more of those. Keep your palm facing your shoulder, and then once again, just rock back and forth, straightening your left elbow a little bit, and then leaning back and rotating your palm. Can you keep your left armpit hollowed out from below? So you don't want to hang off your shoulder here. This time as you come back, hold and keep the pose. Again, don't worry if your left hand touches your shoulder or not. Keep your wrist straight. Hollow out your left armpit. And then from here, you can start to lean back. And if you move your legs back further, you're going to get more stretch. Wherever you are, can you lift your left side ribs up and in from the ground a little more? And then can you start to play with that little bit of a rotation? Rotating to the right. Keep reaching your left elbow tip forward and down into your prop, rotating to the left. 1 more each way to the right, and 1 more to the left. And then come back through your center. Good. Lean back, just take 1 extra breath, draw your left front ribs in and reach your left elbow tip forward and down as you lean back. Come forward and up onto your hands and your knees. And 1 more cycle through cat, cow, twice round. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Keep your low belly contained even in cow. Exhale 1 more time, cat. Good, and into cow. Excellent. From here, tuck your toes under your feet, roll through cat, and pick up your hips to downward dog. If you're in a bench, you're going to sit in the bench, reaching for the floor. Something like this would be a nice alternative to your down dog. It could be hands on the shin, could be hands on the thighs, just creating that A-frame with your body. Last 2 breaths. Short dog stance. 1 more breath, everyone. Good. From here, bend both of your legs, and if you're seated, come to standing. If you're in dog, walk forward to your hands. Pause for a second. Everybody gets really heavy through the neck and the shoulders, and roll your spine up 1 vertebrae at a time. Take your arms around in a big circle, maybe look up. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand, bend everything. Good. From here, arc up and over towards your right. Send your hips to the left. Squeeze your legs straight. And then see if you can bring your right armpit forward. Good. Now from here, can you make a fist with your left hand? Good. And then put your right hand on top of it. And then from there, I want you to really reach your left hand into your right hand. Punch through it. Punch as much as you can. Grow a little bit taller out of your legs, and then bend maybe just a little further. Option to have your hands down at your chest and your leg. Finish this breath. Drive through your left leg, come back up. Take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Bend everything. Arc to your left. Good. Send your hips to your right. Squeeze your legs straighter. Take a deep breath, make a little fist with your right hand, and place your left hand on top of it. Start to press your right knuckles up into your left hand. Really find that press and reach. Send your hips just a little further out towards the right. Scoop your right buttock under till you feel your front ribs close a bit. Finish this breath. Rise up, push down through your right leg. Good. Sit to chair, nice and easy flow here. Stand up. Use your glutes and your hamstrings to press the hips forward. Sit back to chair. Stand up. One more time. Sit back to chair. Hold. Your feet are hip width apart here. Bring your hands to your hips. Heel of your hands will align to the top of your sacrum. Roll your tailbone under. Just use your hands for a little bit of a nudge, and then roll back. Good. Roll your tailbone under. Keep your legs bent. Roll your tailbone back up the wall. Roll your tailbone under. Hold here. Keep a sense of your inner thighs so your knees aren't going out or in. And then from here, see if you can tuck and curl your tailbone under even more to open the front of your hips, your hip flexors. Drive your hips forward and down using your arms. And then maybe just stay here for a couple of breaths. You can either look straight forward or you can look up. Keep the front of your neck engaged so your head's not hanging. And then from there, maybe you play with working your legs straighter. Now, if you're like me and you like to hyperextend back through the knees, make sure your kneecaps have a forward magnetic energy. Good. Can you roll your tail under, curl your chest open just a little more? Take a deep breath in. Connect your front ribs to restack your spine to mountain. Release your arms down. Take an inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, hinge forward, either stopping at your upper thighs, going a little deeper towards your shins, using your bench if you have one, or coming all the way down towards the floor with or without blocks. Okay, let your head go, everyone. Roll your shoulders gently away from the floor. Now lean back until you feel your toes get a little bit lighter off the floor, but without lifting them. So where's that point for you? Bend your knees a lot. See if you can turn your bottom, your buttocks up higher and towards the ceiling. And then without actually moving your feet, isometrically press your feet away from each other from ankle to knee to upper thigh. Now from there, can you tilt your hips up a little higher and drive down through your heels? Good. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you can hold the backs of your legs, pull up with your arms, point your elbows out to the sides of the room, and let your head come down a little further. Can you take 2 more breaths? Maybe even close your eyes here. If you're folded forward and your legs are completely straight, see if you can lengthen your back so it's less rounded. Take 1 more breath, everyone. Uttanasana, forward fold pose. From here, bend your legs again. Tuck your tailbone and roll your spine up 1 vertebrae at a time. Take your arms up, inhale. Exhale, step your legs together. Second set of side bend, bend everything. Take hold of your right or left wrist, arc to your right. Good. Now again, you can go right into that punch position again. Left fist into right palm, or you can bring your hands down to your chest. Work your legs straighter, squeezing through your upper inner thighs. Good. Again, in this pose, side bend pose, it's not about, trying to bend as far down as you can. It's more an issue coming up and over towards the right. Stay clear in your right side waist and take 2 more breaths. Take one more breath, scoop your left buttock under. Good, rise all the way up. Bend everything. Good, switch your hands around. From here, bend over to the left, and then start to squeeze your inner thighs and your legs straighter. And again, you can always bring your hands down if it's too much for your neck and shoulders. If your neck and shoulders are screaming with your arms up here, it only makes sense from a yoga standpoint to bring them down. Good. Can you just play with the depth of the pose here for the next 3 breaths? Keep punching and reaching into your left fist with your right hand. Scoop your right buttock under just a little bit more. See if you can go up and over your arc. One last breath. Squeeze your inner thighs together and rise up. Release your arms down. Inhale, arms come up. Sit to chair. Exhale, stand. Open the front of the hips. Sit to chair. Rise to stand. One more time, sit to chair and hold. Okay, once again, we're going to take our arms back behind us. Clear your shoulder. Adjust if your shoulder doesn't feel clear. Just shift around a little bit and find your way into the joint. Hands to hips. Option A. Option B, legs together this time and interlace your fingers. Keep your knuckles on your sternum, not your sternum, but your sacrum. Roll your tailbone under just like we did before, and then work it back. 2 more. Tuck your tail, roll your hips forward, squeeze your inner thighs together. Again, you have the option to keep your legs a little wider like the first time. This time, roll your hips forward and hold. Now, either stay here and focus on opening your upper back, peeling your heart and your chest open, or go a little deeper by pressing your legs straight. As you press your legs straight, the tricky bit is not to let your inner thighs start to spiral forward. Can you take your inner thighs and slide them back behind you more? Keep that. To go deeper for the last 3 breaths, work your arms straighter. Good. From here, give your shoulders a gentle little shrug up towards your ears and peel your biceps open and your elbows in. Good. Finish this next breath. Maybe going slightly deeper. Draw your low belly in, tuck your tailbone, rise back up. Either keep your arms bound, bend your legs, bring your ribs onto your thighs. Either hands still bound behind you or on your legs, anywhere where you feel supported. Good. From here, roll your shoulders away from the ground, start to squeeze your inner thighs and press your hips up. Can you keep your ribs on your legs? So if you go straighter with the legs and your ribs start to lift and hollow back from your thighs, come higher up, bend your knees a little more. See if you can work the legs straighter. Notice the and maybe you can come a little deeper. Now, if you're adding the arms into this whole thing, you're going to take your elbows straighter. Just mind your shoulders and your elbows and your wrists. And maybe you're reaching your arms over your head. Good. Otherwise, arms can be again on your legs, anywhere where you feel supported. Last 2 breaths. Maybe you close your eyes and find that little weeble wobble, but you don't fall down, challenging some of your smaller stabilizing muscles. On your next breath, if your arms are bound, release them. Place your hands on the front of your shins. Good. Lift up halfway, draw your low belly in, and then sit back to chair pose, everyone. Now, if you need a little more space, I suggest taking your feet hip width apart. Gather your hands through to your heart center. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, spiral from your low belly towards your right. Either left hand to thigh, forearm, or if you're open in your spine, your low back is clear, bring your elbow towards your leg. Maybe hands together. Again, feet can be together or apart. Good. If you wish, open your wings. Can you roll your left hip back, your right hip forward, and then lean your shoulders slightly to the left? So if you saw yourself from a bird's eye view from above, your spine and your head would be positioned perfectly between your two legs and your two big toes. Take one more breath here and seated twist. Unwind, stand up, inhale, take your arms up as high as your shoulders allow, sit right back down, exhale. Take an inhale breath to lengthen your spine. Take an exhale breath to twist to your left and either hand, forearm, or elbow. Again, initially when you come into the position, you're gonna have to lean towards the left to get your elbow in position if you're going deeper. Once you're there, however, I want you to think about really pulling your right hip back, or forward rather, and bringing your shoulders towards the right. Breathe. Right hip forward, shoulders slightly to the right. Sink your hips maybe just a little deeper on your next couple of exhales, looking for that really long spine and those low hips. Finish this breath. On your next inhale, revolve back to center, just stand right up. Stretch up, reach up if you like. Exhale, swan dive forward and down with or without space between your legs. High, medium, or low, hands on a bench, props, or the floor. For the second set of forward folds, you can go deeper. Again, either by holding your legs like we did the first time, or maybe going a little deeper by taking yogi toe lock around your big toes. We talked about the toe lock last week. It's making peace fingers and then gripping onto your big toe and hooking. Good, like that. As much as you're pulling up with your arms and your fingers, you're pushing down through your toes as well. Lean your hips back until you feel as though your toes almost want to lift off your mat, but they don't. And then see if you can turn your sit bones just a little higher up in the air. Elbows reach really wide to the right and the left. So really want you to think about that broad collarbone feeling through to the tips of your elbows. Finish this breath, everyone. Bend your legs, tuck your tailbone, and either hinge up from the floor or roll up. Which one works better for your body? Take your arms up and around in a big circle. Exhale, hands down through your heart center. Good. Okay. Get your props or get your stair, whichever one you're going to pick. You can either align double props like this if you have long feet and you have yoga blocks, set them end to end. We're going to start with your right foot on top of the blocks or the stair, okay? And from here, lift off of your left heel. Good. Center yourself right on top of your right ankle. Good. So make sure you've got that sense of being balanced on top of your right leg, okay? Just like this. Now from there, I want you to see if you can just pick up your left toes and then put them back down. Pick up your left toes, now hold, freeze. And if you need to reset again, just go for it, right? So from here now, hands come to your hips like this. You can see here at the start position, your hips are level and square. And all I'm gonna ask you to do is just wag your right hip slightly out to the side and then zip it back up till your hips get level again. Do it really slow. Take your hips slightly off to the side and then zip it back up. Keep going, everyone. I'm going to give you the side view as well, okay? So here, really trying to send your hip directly out to the right and directly back into the center line. So if you imagine these muscle fibers along the outside of your right hip, they'll lengthen as you go out with your hip and they'll shorten to pull you back in. Can you just do 2 more of those? Do your best not to grip your right toes into your props. Let it be a little bit looser through the toes. Last one, hip goes out, hip comes back in. Good, and then from there, just step off. Switch sides. Did everyone feel a little bit of that in your outer right hip? Okay, we're gonna do the other side. So I'm just waking up your side lateral muscles in the lower half of the body as well as your lower back here. So, okay, you're up on your right tippy toes and you're standing proud and alert in your left leg. Right? So your left leg is in a contraction phase right now. You're going to pick up your right toes. And then you're going to try to really see and maintain, if you can, keep your hips as level as you can. Excellent. Okay, now from here, really slow and controlled. Send your left hip out towards the side, and then pull it back in until your right hip is as high as your left. Keep going. And again, there's going to be a temptation here as you move your hip out to the side to punch it forward ahead of you. Really try to keep that hip sandwiched between two panes of imaginary glass. Chin is on a perch, and you're looking straight forward. Good. Loosen up your left toes. You got 4 more here. Again, lengthen out through your outer left hip, and then pull it back in, shortening and contracting. Good. Slowly expanding and opening. Slowly contracting and shortening. Can you do 1 more of those? Really, really slow. Really, really slow. God, 1 more. Let's do 2 more. I feel like we missed a few extra. Good. Super challenging. You'll find as well when you're balancing, you can't help but focus. So this is one of the best ways to bring yourself back into present-minded awareness, is to come into some sort of balancing movement pattern. Good. Hold here. Take 1 breath, and then slowly step off. All right. Hopefully you felt that in the outer hips. Remove your blocks. Stand in the center of your mat, facing whichever way you need to, depending on how you've oriented yourself. Bend everything, and then take a big sort of penguin step out to the side. You want a good 5 to 6 feet between your ankles, depending on how tall you are. 6 feet if you're taller, 5 if you're a little shorter. Angle your left toes in slightly, just about 1 inch, and then pivot on your right heel till your right foot points straight towards the head of your mat. Come in and out of warrior 2 a couple times. Hands can be on your hips, or they can be level to the shoulders, bent or straight. Straighter and the higher, the more challenging, through the neck and the shoulders. Settle into your left leg. You'll want to lean forward like this towards your left leg. Lean back. Bring your shoulders straight up and down over your hips. Drive straight down through both of your heels a lot. Can you deepen into your front leg? 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, deepen. Relax your shoulders from your ears. Inhale to your middle back. Exhale, deepen. Inhale to your lower back. Exhale, deepen. Stay where you are for another 5 breaths. For any reason you need to come out of the pose a little bit higher up, you do it. Your left leg, I want your left glute active and turned on. I also want you to make sure that you don't lock back on your left knee, so bring that forward ever so slightly. Keep your left knee moving forward, your left glute lifted, and then see if you can scoop your right buttock under more, a lot more. Scoop it towards your front knee. Finish your next breath, maybe sinking a 1/2 inch deeper. Good. From here, straighten your front leg, reach as far forward as you can. Bring your right hand to your upper leg and your left hand on your hip. Now in triangle, we're trying to attempt getting the hips to stack on top of each other. The hard part about that stacking of your left hip on top of your right in this case is to make sure that your right knee doesn't turn in medially. So keep a sense of weight through your left pinky toe and your left kneecap staying in line with your second toe. All right, can you make your right hand lighter? Maybe your left arm goes up. Bring your head down just a little bit lower so you have the equal space between ears and shoulders. Maybe you float your hand. Maybe you tilt into it slightly deeper. Take 1 last breath here. Again, your right hand could be on blocks, a bench, or your leg. Finish this breath. Can you little tilt of your left buttock a little higher up in the air? Reach for the ceiling, rise back up, sit back into warrior 2, reach as far forward as you can now, and bring your right elbow to your leg as light as a feather. Okay. Push straight down on your feet. Left hand can stay at your hip. It can come out. It can come over. Now, if you're going over your head, you'll be tempted to bend sideways. I really want you to think about bringing your left side ribs down from the ceiling, lifting out of your right armpit and rolling your right shoulder on your back. Now, could you lift your right elbow? Take another 2 breaths. Could you reach your right arm straight forward to me and encourage a little more rotation? Take one more breath, sink a little deeper, cartwheel out of it. Take one last breath, sink in, left heel heavy, push down on your left heel. Make your leg straight, rotate your right foot in. Okay, from here, both toes point in slightly, fold forward either halfway, to a bench, to your blocks, or to the floor. All right, if you like and you're more flexible, you could climb down to the forearms and bring the top of your head toward the floor. Lean forward just enough to feel that your heels get lighter off of the ground, but without actually lifting them. See if you can press your heels away from each other isometrically, and then just tilt your buttocks up a little bit higher. Your low belly is contained the whole time. Practicing Uddiyana Bandha or low belly lock, transverse abdominis. Finish this breath, everyone. Good, you're gonna lift up halfway, hands to shins or upper thighs, then transition hands to hips, close your front ribs and stand straight up by pushing down on your heels. Take a deep breath in, rotate your left toes out, your right toes in, and then float in and out of your warrior 2 a couple times again. So in the pose, it's really easy to get into that feeling of your feet separating from each other front to back. I really want you to modify that by pushing down on your feet versus pushing your feet away from each other or even hugging them into each other. Just push straight down. Settle in. Tease your ribs back over your hips. Tone your right buttock. Tone your right quadricep so your right kneecap has that forward feeling. Deepen into your heel, your left heel. Again, your arms could be lower, up but bent, or fully extended. Can you let your shoulders drop? All right. Take your right hip back. And from there, scoop your left buttock under. Tight, tight, under, under, under. Lean your upper body back just a bit more, and then 3 more breaths to settle in here. Watch as you go deeper, you don't start to lean forward towards your left knee. Okay, hold for 1 more breath, everyone. Squeeze your left leg straight. Rock your right hip up and back, and then place your left hand above your knee on your upper thigh. Good. Watch that your left knee doesn't start to turn in. Okay, really rotate your upper thigh outward. Keep that action. Coming even lower, depending on whether you can keep your spine straight along the side from head to right ankle. If your hand is on your leg above or below your knee, push your leg into your palm and then see if you can leverage a little bit more of a twist of your waist so that your right hip rolls back over your left. Maybe take your right arm up. And then again, you could play with going deeper down towards the floor. Just try to keep your right side ribs closed from the ceiling. Left armpit forward. You're looking either down, forward toward me, or up towards the ceiling. Last full breath, everyone. Can you roll your right buttock just up and back a little higher? Reach for the ceiling. Take a big inhale to rise up. Bend into your left leg again and hold. Good. All right, take a big breath in there. Now reach as far forward as you can towards your left leg. Right hand on hip, left elbow light to your thigh. The idea here is not really to use your arm as a kickstand, but merely as a point of reference. So rather than sitting onto your left elbow, think about keeping it really light on your leg, but leveraging it into your leg sideways. Let me show you from the front. So it'll be this leverage sideways versus down. Turn, arm reaching over the head or keeping close to the hip. Can you deepen into your front leg and take 3 more breaths? Use your left arm as that little bit of leverage to see if you can just turn your waist, your ribs, reach your left arm forward toward me and see if you can use that to help spiral you a little bit more. Good. Nice, everyone. Finish this breath. Reach for the ceiling. Come all the way back up. From here, work your left leg straight. Rotate your left toes in. Rotate your right toes in slightly. Again, about 5 to 6 feet apart. Hinge from the front of your hips towards the floor. Again, it could be partway down, hands on a bench, forearms on a bench, hands on blocks, etc. As much as possible, try to avoid rounding your spine forward and under. I'd rather you come higher up on a prop or your legs and keep your spine straighter. And then focus on lifting your sit bones towards the ceiling as you drive down through your heels. Shoulder blades on your back towards your tailbone, head heavy. Breathe. Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged straddle pose. Good. Finish this next breath, everyone. Maybe sink slightly deeper. Tuck your tailbone. Bring your hands to your shins. Lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Bring your hands to your hips, elbows to the sky. Close your front ribs. Imagine your head is the pencil tip and your tailbone's the eraser. Eraser back, head forward, draw a line up the wall with your cranium. Okay. From there, bend your knees and either step your feet together or hop them in. Take a deep breath in and up. Exhale, swan dive down. Climb onto your hands and your knees. Step back. Okay, let's get our blanket. Your blanket is gonna go just at the top of the quadriceps, okay? Right at the top, right where your leg bends. So organize yourself there and bring your hips on top. All right. You're going to bring your forehead down. You can stack your hands under your forehead. And I really want you to feel a sense of reaching your elbows out sideways, away from your mat. All right. Just let your back settle. Deepen your breath and take 2 more. One more, please. Good. Now from here, I'm going to have you separate your hands, float your forehead just off the floor. Okay. Set your elbows on either side of your head. I'll show you the front view. Looks like this. Don't mind my legs. Just focus on my upper body position here. Okay. So you got cactus arms on either side of your head, like you're getting held up. All right. So forehead is floating, or you can grab any number of other props, either your belt folded under your forehead, a skinny pad. If it gets too much for your neck, just restack your hands underneath your forehead and rest, okay? All right, so here's what we're gonna do. You got cactus arms, both elbows are aligned to your shoulder. Forehead is gently touching your mat with a soft tuck of your chin, good, or it's hovered off the ground. I'm going to have you lift your elbows slowly away from the floor without lifting anything else. Tuck your tailbone and softly bring your elbows back down. Keep going. Now, I'm not interested in how high you lift your elbows. I'm interested in how wide you reach your elbows. So think about wingspan from your shoulder to the tips of your elbows to the walls on either side of your body. Do one more, little hover of the elbow, almost so that you can feel that your arm is heavy as you lift it. Don't lift it too fast, lift it really slow. Bring your elbows down. Now your elbows are gonna hold. And what you're gonna do is actually lift your hand and your wrist off the floor. Good, hand and wrist. And again, as you hover your hand and wrist off the ground, I really want you to focus on reaching your elbows as far out towards the side walls beside you as you possibly can. Lifting, hovering, press down through your feet and your tailbone tucks under slightly. Last two, low belly lifted. Front of your throat is lifted, a slight retraction of your Adam's or Eve's apple. Bring your hands down. Once again, reach your elbows as wide out as you can. Hover your elbows. Keep your elbows and hover your hands too. Now your arms are in line with your ears. They're not higher than your head. Okay? Bring your elbows down and bring your hands down. Do it again. Elbows hover, hands hover. Hold, reach your elbows wide, 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 wide. Elbows down, hands come down softly. Now we're going to reverse it. Hands first, wrists, hands. Then elbows rise to the level of your hands. Hands come down, elbows come down. 3 more of those. Do it in a way that your arm feels heavy. As best as you can, as your arms and your hands are moving up and down from the floor, there's a sense that your shoulder blades themselves are not moving up and down to your head. So you shouldn't feel your shoulders getting any closer to your ears or further away. Last one. Okay, now we're going to do both at the same time. So I want you to lift and hover both hands and elbows simultaneously, and then down, soft, up. Press down through your pubic bones to reach the top of your head forward. Again, your head is either hovered off the floor in line with your shoulders, or your forehead is down and your chin is tucked. Good? Okay. Hold the hover this time, everyone. Turn your palms to face into each other so your thumbs are up, and then slide your pinky fingers forward ahead of you. Now, you don't have to go fully extended through the elbows, but if your shoulders feel clear and your neck is okay, go for it. Good. Arms stay in the same height. Good. Same height. Press down on your pubic bones on your roll. Lift your low belly. Slide forward. Try to keep your arms the exact same height. Elbows reach out, reach out, reach out as you bring them back. Do one more sliding forward, sliding forward, sliding forward. Low belly lifted. Hold here for 3 breaths. 2 and 1. Now bring your hands back to stack under your forehead. Give your hips a little bit of a wiggle side to side just to loosen up your low back, and then come back into the center again, everyone. Once again, hover your head or tuck your chin under and place your forehead on the floor or on a prop. From here, what I'm going to have you do, actually let's change that. Let's go hands under forehead. Pick up your right elbow and twist slightly up and to the right. Rotate back to center. Pick up your left elbow, reach for the wall, twist up and towards the left, just spiraling your low to upper spine by your neck, just gently. I want you to do one more, each way. Little spiral, press down through your pubic bones and the tops of your feet. And last one, little spiral to the left, and come back to center. From here, climb up to your forearms. Set your forearms as wide as your shoulders so that as you look down at them, they look like number 11s. Reset your hips on your prop. Bend your right leg. Flex your right foot. Squeeze your right heel to your glute and lift your right knee up and pulse for 8. As your leg is going up, I want you to gather your heel into your buttock. Reach your right knee as far back as you can when you lift it. As you bring your leg down, do the same thing. Lift your low belly up, lift your front ribs away from your mat, and stretch your head beyond your fingertips. Now hold the height of your right leg and pulse. Can you squeeze your heel a little closer to your seat and do 4 more? 3, low belly to spine, heart reaching forward. 1, good. Bring it down, straighten your leg, give your hips a little wiggle. From here, sink your shoulders, and then push down on your forehands, puff up your upper back and tuck your chin. Good, let your upper back sink, move your spine forward, rolling your nose just ahead of your fingertips, and then tuck your tail, lift your low belly, press down through the forearms, spread your shoulder blades apart, come back into more of that neutral expression, hold, low belly to spine, bend your left leg, flex your left foot, Squeeze your left heel as close to your buttock as you can, and then go ahead and lift your left knee up and down. Keep going. As you're moving your left knee up and down, think about keeping the left side of your waist shorter. Right? So draw your front side right ribs in and pull your left hip closer to your head. All right, last 4. Can you squeeze your left heel closer to your glute? As you lift your left knee, make sure your low belly doesn't go down. So low belly stays lifted throughout. Push down on your forearms. Squeeze that heel a little closer to your glute. Reset that. Push down on your right leg here as well. Good, now hold the height. Hold your left leg. Squeeze your heel closer to your glute and pulse up. 8, 7. You'll feel your left heel trying to sneak away from you. Pull it closer to your glute. 4 to go, low belly to spine, push down on your forearms. 2 to go, 1 more to go, up, 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 squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Lower your left knee and straighten your leg. From here, once again, just sink your chest down between your elbows. You're melting through the upper back. Push down on your forearms, puff, tuck your tailbone, and look under towards your tummy. Once again, roll your spine forward, sink your upper back, look forward just ahead of your fingers. Press down, tuck your tailbone. Good, last one, everyone. Down, sink, up, puff, hold the puff, and walk your hands in a little closer. From here, tuck your toes. Good. Lift your hips, lift your knees. Hold plank. Option to keep your knees down and keep your hips down as well. Good. Hold there. Can you feel as though you're reaching your heels backwards away from you, but lean forward more at the same time? Take 1 more breath here. Reach through the crown of your head, back through your heels. Good. Bring your knees softly towards the ground. Walk your hands back under your chest and press straight up. Tuck your toes. Press back to a downward dog. Hold for 1 or 2 breaths. Knees can be on the ground here as well. Finish this breath. Go and then come all the way down to your knees. Move your blanket out of your way. All right. Have a seat on your right hip, kind of like a mermaid stance. Okay. You can have your legs stacked, or you can have your left leg back behind your right foot. Okay. Sit up tall, draw your right side ribs in, cartwheel your right arm up and over, and bring it to the ground just behind your right hip. So from the side, it'll look like this, just behind your right hip. From there, you're gonna lift your hips, use your glutes, open the front of your hips, lift up through the chest, bring your head slightly back, and then come down again. Good, do it again. Up, press through both of your legs, push straight down on your right hand, and then come down again. 1 more time, everyone. You're gonna come up, you're gonna let that right shoulder roll back. Maybe take your left arm up and over your head. Good, let's do that 1 last time. Come around in a circle and up and back. Right shoulder rolls back from your ears. Take 1 last breath here, holding up a little higher. Press through the glutes and hamstrings. Come all the way down. Circle around to the second side. Left hand is going to cartwheel up. Left side ribs stay in. Land your left hand just behind your hip. From here, you're going to lift up through your hips. Press down through your feet and your shins. Come back down slowly and do it again. You can add in your right arm if you wish. Roll your left shoulder on your back. Let your head come back. Lift up through your heart. Come back down. 2 to go. Up. Left shoulder on your back. Really articulating well through your shoulder. Last time, everyone. Come up, back. Now, can you use your legs to press the hips forward a little more? Glutes really active here. Stretch down through your right knee. Press forward through both hips. Maybe reach your right arm back. Maybe look up. Maybe let your head come back a little bit. Take 1 more breath. Slowly bring it back down and around. Okay. Now from here, swing your legs forward toward me. I want you to face me so that you can see what's happening. You're going to climb down onto your right forearm. Your right forearm can be positioned either pointing straight out from your elbow, like mine is now. It can be turned in a little bit towards your hip or out away from you. So where does your shoulder feel settled? Stack your legs, your knees and your hips. You'll want to do this, fetal, but I want you to bring your knees back so that your knees and your hips are in line with your shoulders and your head. All right, push down on your right arm a lot. Keep that. Take a breath, lift both your hips, come back down. Now, in lieu of this, something's going on in your right shoulder and you can't lift your hips, don't sweat it. Just keep your hips down, keep a little bit of weight and resistance on your arm and just hold the pose isometrically. Take a break whenever you need it. You can always come down to your shoulder and rest in fetal for a couple breaths. Otherwise, last one up with the hip, hold. Hips forward, knees back. Lift your top leg up. Good. Lower your hips. 3, bring it up. 2, hips forward, knees back, ribs in, head back. Up, hold, lower your top leg, bring your hips down. Switch sides. All right. So some of that work standing on our block at the beginning of your practice is going to come into play here. So similar muscle groups, but a little more effort now. Okay. Left elbow directly under your shoulder. Hand is positioned somewhere where your shoulder itself feels clear. Hips forward, knees back. One long line, knee to head. Take a deep breath, push down on your left forearm, lift both hips. Come down nice and slow. Lift both hips. Do your best, everyone, as you go up and down with your pelvis, not to push away from your arm this way. I really want you to stay over your elbow. Last 2. Belly button in, left side ribs up, head centered between both shoulders. Good. Last one coming up. Hold. Lift your top leg, then bring your hips down and up. Try your best to keep your left ankle flat. Good. Up. Again, really staying on top of your left elbow. Couple more. Good. One more. How are the shoulders doing? Getting there, right? Up, 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 up. Come down nice and slow. Okay, from here, flip onto your glutes. Get your strap. Have it handy. Walk your feet in, hands to either side of your shins or your upper legs. Round back part way and up. Now, if you find that rounding through your spine in this way irritates your back, or maybe you've got one of those extra vertebrae and your tailbone has been broken in the past, something of that nature, feel free to hinge instead. You don't have to round. I'd like you to do 2 more, please. Good. One more. Come back up, straighten your left leg, sit up nice and tall. You can always bend your left knee if you need to, if you're tighter. Pick up your right leg and cross it over your left. Okay. You'll want to lean back right away, so see if you can tilt your pelvis coming forward. With or without your strap, you can reach for your foot. Some of you will be able to reach it with yogi toe lock, and you're just going to hold here. 2 more breaths. Now, as you're reaching, either strap, your yogi toe lock, really want you to focus on spiraling your right leg into the midline and hugging your left hip back. Take this last breath, lengthen out of your spine, and then go ahead and sit up. Good. Release the strap. Interlace your fingers. Bring your leg a little tighter into your body. Lift up as high as you can and turn around your thigh. Good. Now, it's not about how far you get into the twist. Where can you find that perfect balance between contraction and expansion? Your contraction will take your belly button further to the left. Your expansion will take your spine further up towards the sky above you. See if you can draw your left leg a little bit deeper into your hip socket and maybe turn a little bit deeper using the leverage of your hands. Take one last breath here. Revolve back to center. Here, unwind your right leg, your left, I remember now. Bring both hands back behind you. Really get a good anchor with your bent leg. Push down through your arms. This is back to that beginning arm position that we played with at the very beginning. Lift your hips up if you're adding. Your left foot or your front foot on the straight leg is going to reach down into a pointed position. You're going to lift your hips up as high as you can. Take a deep breath. Roll your biceps open. Maybe look up. Good. Slowly lower your hips back and down towards your fingertips and change sides. So take your bent leg straight. Bend your opposite leg. Lift up. Lift your leg and cross it over. And once again, try to find the points of your sit bones. Bring your bent leg into the midline and hug your straight leg back into your hip socket. Lift up, take a full breath. Find your strap or your yogi toe lock around your straight leg and hinge toward it. Again, it could be the toe lock. Take 2 more breaths, lengthen your spine, squeeze your bent leg into the midline, sit straight up, interlace your fingers, draw your bent leg foot in closer to your body, lift up out of your spine, breathe in, go a little taller, and as you exhale, spiral your belly button around towards the side. Hug your bent leg in. Draw your straight leg back into your hip socket. Turn a little bit more with the leverage of your arms. Breathe. Try to expand your breath into your ribs, finding that flow of expansion as you breathe in, contraction as you breathe out, maybe going a little deeper with that contraction. Last full breath. Push down through your legs. Turn a little bit more. Both shoulders on your back. Roll through center. Uncross your leg. Take your arms up and around. Bend your elbows as you swing your arms behind you, fingertips to the floor. Leverage your bent leg. Lift up through your pelvis if you're adding. Straight leg foot reaches towards the floor. But again, you could keep the hips down and just lift up through your heart like this as well. Last 2 breaths. Level off your pelvis. Maybe look up, push down through your arms, finish this breath. Tuck your tailbone, roll your hips back towards your fingers. Sit up nice and tall. Strap or belt, freestyle is welcome, around the toes. Legs can be hip width apart for those of you that are tighter. Good. If you're a little more flexible, go with legs together. Lift up out of your spine. Good. Bend your knees a little bit. From here, bring your ribs forward onto your legs. Now, you can either shorten the hand grip on the strap. If you can reach your feet, go for it. But from here, keep your ribs on your legs glued together and only straighten your legs as much as you can keep your ribs on your thighs. So if that means you're here up a little higher and your legs are still bent, go for it. If it means that you can straighten your legs fully, still keeping the closure of ribs on thighs and bring your head down, go for that as well. Wherever you are you somewhere that you can breathe? Are you somewhere that makes sense? Finish this next breath into your back. We're almost there, everyone. And then go ahead and roll your spine back up. Think about your tailbone curling under. Stack your spine on top, bend both legs. Bring your hands to your ribs. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, roll back 1 vertebrae at a time until you're on the floor. Okay. Walk your feet in towards your hips. Now you can range this. It could be further out if you have knee restrictions. If your knees are clear and they feel good today, walk your heels back close enough to you that when you reach down with your arms, you can just barely touch your heel with your middle finger, okay? Just barely. Okay? Either way, you've got hip width distance between your knees and your ankles are more or less under your knees. Elbows straight down by your sides, good fingers straight up. Take a deep breath, roll your lower back gently into the floor, gently. And then start to peel your spine one vertebrae at a time off the ground. And then hold here and bridge. Try to listen for my voice versus turning your head. So I would like you to just keep your eyes softly focused on the ceiling here and just listen for the cues. Can you walk one of your shoulder blades a little bit deeper under your upper back at a time? Both shoulders, just a little deeper, one at a time. And your shoulders start to feel like kickstands under your upper back. Good. Lift your hips a little higher now. Push down through your elbows. Reach up through your fingers. Your fingers are expanding and reaching for the sky. You're contracting through the hamstrings and buttocks. Keep your inner thighs active. Breathe here. If you want to challenge here, straighten your elbows onto the ground, karate chop style. Either maintain that or walk your hands in and interlace your fingers under your back. If you're in the bound arm position, walk your shoulders under your upper back a little deeper. Try to do that without bringing your shoulders closer to your head or closer to your feet. Lift your hips up a little higher now. Good, breathe steady, hug your inner thighs towards the midline. Take 2 more breaths here in Setu Bandha, shoulder bridge. I'm gonna add one last thing, everyone. Listen for the cues. Keep the pose the same. All I want you to do is press your heels away from you. Don't physically move your feet forward, but isometrically contract your heels away from you until you feel your chest come closer to your chin. It's a great stretch for your neck as long as you're not too aggressive with it. Push down on your arms, your shoulder blades, and your heels. Take one last breath, everyone. Roll off of your heels. Keep your big toes heavy. Unbind your arms if they are bound. Fingers to the ceiling, everyone. Lift your hips another inch, and then roll your spine down 1 vertebrae at a time. Walk your feet out as wide as your mat. Tilt your knees in. Rest your hands on your belly. Close your eyes. Breathe. Finish your next breath. Come to happy baby pose. So you can either hold your knees, your calves, your ankles, the outsides of your feet. You can even use your strap as well over your legs if you prefer. So, no matter where you decide to put your hands, try your best to keep your tailbone heavier towards the floor. Then draw your knees down to the outsides of your shoulders. Take 2 more breaths. Finish your breath. If you're using a strap, set it to the side. Everybody comes into Viparita Karani. Arms and legs dangled above you. Take 1 big breath here, super heavy and lazy through your arms and legs. Slowly reposition your right foot on the floor, right arm down, left foot, left arm down. Either feet wide, knees in, or legs can slide straight out onto the floor. Scoop and tuck your tailbone and fidget for a moment or 2. And invite either a traditional Shavasana with the arms just off the sides of your body, or starfish, where your arms are out like YMCA style. Go with your instinct. Take a deep, deep breath in, everyone. Expand, 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 expand. Exhale softly, softly, softly. Just release air. I'm going to go silent for the next minute, then I'll have you up and on your way. Just stay for another few breaths here without moving. Deepen your breath. Gentle movements anywhere in your body that feels good to you. Follow your instinct. Just nice and subtle. Bend your legs and turn onto your right side into fetal. When you're ready, make your way up to a seat. Gather your hands through to heart center. Feel the subtle flow of your breath, the spanda of expansions and contractions of movement. As I always say, wherever there's movement, there's opportunity for change, evolution, growth. It all begins in our breath. One round of Om to seal your practice today. Take a full breath in through your nose, empty it through your mouth. Subtle inhale to Om. No. Namaste. Good. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Take your time to rise, stay as you are a little longer if you prefer and you have time. Take a 10-minute Shavasana. I will see you on Tuesday for flow. It will be quite vigorous and we'll be incorporating a lot of the lessons that we learned with the shoulder and the back bends today. So I look forward to seeing you then. Have a really great weekend. Enjoy Ayla's class tomorrow. She has a flow class in the morning. So I'll see you on the flip side of the weekend. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eryn. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Eryn. It's good.